right.
All right, hold on, I need to record.
You guys ready?
Here we go. Okay, we're recording.
Call the meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Hampstead to order. Please rise for an opening prayer and pledge. Dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you as your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who've placed their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken, every action that taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead. The Lord bless this meeting and our town. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Nevin,
Here.
Councilwoman Duff,
Here.
Councilman Babylon,
Here.
Councilman Renahan,
Here.
and Councilman KV is absent.
Okay, Councilman KB has a work conflict.
Is that what it was? Okay, Councilman Thomas.
Here.
All right, minute approvals for November 11th, please.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Staff,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's you.
There's so many people here. For the water main replacement project, the MOU between Carroll County and the town is with Michelle. She actually sent it over today. We're still on schedule for the project. For the streetscape portion of the project, State Highway, we had a public meeting on November 20th with staff from the town and staff from State Highway. I would estimate there's probably 100 people who attended. And we had a big meeting on November 25th that included the mayor and State Highway with JMT to discuss the MOU and other aspects of the project. Our next meeting is December 11th, which will continue. After that, we'll have monthly meetings. And AutoZone, their building is complete. They're working on utilities and signage, and we still need to do a final inspection. North Carroll Farms 5 completed the PWA, and we sent it back to them. And Public Works is still working on the design. JMT sent us a quote for the design for the pump house. The salt storage facility should be finished this week. I think Roger said they're already starting to put salt in it. We had the Maryland Emergency Management Agency do a vulnerability assessment of our town water and security around Town Hall. He finished the report, and we're going to have a meeting on December 18th to follow up. The Solar City project, we received the final contracts, which will be presented later during the meeting for approval. And it looks, with our research, it looks like the only cost that we will have will be the cost to remove the trees. Crossroads Church received approval to apply conditional use to the facility across the street at 1041 South Carroll at the BZA meeting on November 12th. They also scheduled a meeting tomorrow, actually, to come in and talk to us. CSLI is meeting with us tomorrow to talk about their plans. Kevin and Roger have been interviewing. They had 4 interviews scheduled. One person had gotten a job with UPS before the interviews started, so they interviewed 3 people. They sent them for math testing, and then we'll conduct a second interview. And Town Hall is also going to hire an intern from North Carroll, starting somewhere at the end of January, beginning of February, and then they'll work until May. So if anybody needs any assistance with projects you're working on, let us know. With Fuchs, they were also at the BZA meeting, and they received final approval on their parking variance. They plan to break ground in March and begin operations phase 1 in summer of 2016. And Councilman KV's absent. I'll talk about the planning and zoning meeting. Beijing Palace asked for approval for their sign for the new plaza on Main Street. Global Martial Arts also asked approval for their sign. They're basically moving their sign from where it is to the new facility. And then Jiffy Mart for their Jiffy sign. It's not changing, it's just they thought they would rehang their existing sign, but it turns out it's just a little too big, so they have to make it a little smaller. So it's the same sign, they just had to make it smaller. And they were all approved.
Wouldn't fit in the space.
No,
We had to take a letter out. Zippy Mart from here on.
All right.
Good Lord.
Marlene, would you like to start?
Sure. The second annual Christmas Farmers Market was held the weekend of the tree lighting ceremony. We had 17 vendors participate and just over 1,200 customers shopped over the 3 days. Friday evening, of course, had the most customers with 647. Saturday, 376, and Sunday was really disappointing with 208, and we weren't even competing against the Ravens. So we're considering several very good suggestions to improve the attendance next year, possibly doing maybe 2 Fridays, 2 Saturdays, and eliminate Sunday altogether. My current project is contacting the 3 website sponsors that we have to see if they're interested in renewing their banner ads on the market's website. And I think we've got some pretty good reasons this year for them to renew. We've had increased customer attendance at the market. Jason was able to tell me, give me some statistics that they have increased clicks on their websites from visitors to the market's website. And then we won that recent award by the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce. So I'm going to, in the letter that I submit to them, I'm going to mention all those things. Lorena and Kevin have taken care of executing the MOU with the fire department for 2015, and we truly appreciate their advanced work on that. I didn't even have to think about that. I mean, it was done. I attended the November board meeting of the Human Services Program, and then I also made a brief presentation to the Hampstead Elementary School second grade class on what it means to be a good citizen. And that was my November.
Good.
Plus some other stuff.
All right, Wayne.
Hampstead train station, as Marlene mentioned, we participated in the Christmas Farmers Market. We did very well on our sales. I think it was a good program. It was disappointing we couldn't get a train layout this year, but we'll have one next year. We had the annual meeting of the members of the Hampstead Train Station Committee this past Thursday night. Elected officers again. Surprise, surprise, I'm the president again. Couldn't get anybody else to take it. But we had a good turnout. We added a new member to the board, so we're hoping for some more progress.
Who's the new member?
Matthew Sitchell ran for council.
Matt's a good guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I mentioned before that, maybe I didn't. With the passing of Bob Porterfield, he had a train layout in his basement. He donated it, or he gave it to Matt. Matt already had one in the basement of his house and couldn't fit it in, so he has worked out a deal to temporarily, permanently loan it to the train station. And we're going to be, we're in the process of putting it back together. We had to remove it from the house, and we're in the process of putting it back together. We should have it together by Hampstead Day.
Good.
It's a very nice layout.
Good.
So 11.5 by 9 feet. Very impressive, multiple layers. It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of train sets, Amy Studniks, lives right here in Hampstead, was the winner of our train set wrap.
Very good.
Okay. The HBA is alive and well. I volunteered to do the expo again this year. I don't think they're having a meeting this month, but they put out their annual membership. So
Good.
things are progressing there. That's all I have.
All right. Tim.
All right. Public Works conducted their routine trash pickups and equipment inspections at all of the parks in Hampstead, and we recently had a successful tree lighting, which I'm sure the mayor is going to cover in great detail in his report. And just wanted to remind everybody to go out and enjoy the displays while they're up, and that is it.
All right. Joe.
November 2014 average water usage was 372,000 gallons per day. December 2014 average water usage so far is 367,000 gallons per day. Rainfall total for November is 2.96 inches. Rainfall total for December is 0.84, and we are working on fourth quarter water meter reading. That's all I got.
All right, Jay, in place of the chief, you're up.
Good evening. On behalf of Chief Meekins, who's on vacation, I'm Captain Gribben. Hampstead officers issued 140 citations and warning in November. There were 12 traffic crashes reported. 4 occurred at the bypass circle at 482. 5 were on Main Street. 1 at in Hampstead Marketplace. and 2 others were spread around town, with no other street having more than 1 crash. And our officers worked 2 school bus grant overtime details in November. Serious crime, November was very good. We had 2 burglaries and 1 theft. One of the burglaries was at the Hampstead Car Wash where money was taken, and the other was at Beaumark Electric where copper wire was stolen. Both are still under active investigations, and both incidents are suspected of being committed by employees. And there was 1 theft reported of a trailer hitch. HPD officers made 8 arrests in November, 1 juvenile and 7 adults. Charges included 3 of them were charged with possession of CDS, 2 DWIs, and the 3 other were traffic charges, like suspended, things like that. Canine activity, Russell had 2 scans, 1 for MSP, where marijuana was found, and 1 and charges were placed by MSP. And we assisted in a search warrant for Manchester, where Nego found the drugs in the house that they were looking for. Community policing efforts, officers conducted 166 patrol checks at local stores and schools, businesses, etc. PFC Holland rough children at the Christian preschool and kindergarten. Also, we assisted along with the North Carroll Auxiliary and provided traffic control at the annual Christmas tree lighting. Sergeant Gagler and Corporal Swartz provided a show and tell for several classes of Hampstead Elementary School students here at Town Hall. And Sergeant Gagler also attended an assembly at Shiloh Middle School during the month, and she installed a car seat. Staffing, we're currently up to staff until the end of this month when I'll be retiring. And
Stealing my thunder. Keep going.
oh, I'm sorry. And well, it's written in here. I only read what is written. The hiring process is, we're still in the middle of hiring process, and other than that, the big reminder for all of you, sir.
Shop with a cop.
Shop with a cop is when?
Saturday.
Saturday. We usually get there around 8 o'clock. I know Nora usually comes. Marlene's been there. Anybody else who's interested in coming, shop with a cop. We're still accepting donations. We will always accept donations. So I suspect that all of us will be there. We'll be doing our shop with a cop. And that'll fulfill our day other until
Dinner.
Saturday evening. Any questions?
Thank you, Jay. My report, so as Jay mentioned, he's filling in for the chief, but this is his last council meeting because he's retiring at the end of the month, and really appreciate all the service you've given the town over the years. And of course, we'll be recognizing you at the town dinner, and you're having a retirement party in the middle of January, so many more opportunities yet to come, but thank you for everything you've done. You've really advanced the professionalism and the purpose of our police department with your presence and your ability.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's see, the last month we had a police advisory meeting, which was unfortunately sparsely attended, but Ken has these 3 times a year, so they're always good to attend. We've had 2 meetings with the SHA. As Tammy mentioned, one was at the fire hall, which was very well attended, talking about Main Street revitalization. Second one was getting into the nitty-gritty details of what that entails here, sitting at town hall with their staff about a week later. I thank Larry Hentz for volunteering his time again, as we talked about utility coordination between sewer, water, telephone lines, power lines, and what they plan to put in stormwater management. There's a lot to coordinate. I think the Christmas tree lighting, Tim mentioned, went off without a hitch and was really well attended. I mean, you said you counted 600 people walking through the door that night, and there was at least double that, outside. So a great event, a true community event with everybody that's involved in that, and just small town Americana. And it went off, like I said, without a hitch, thanks to everybody's contributions. We had an interesting article in the Times on Sunday. I didn't think that it would be there, but the house that's quote-unquote free if you move it from the Jiffy Mart lot in the back, the Snyder House. I'll give Jack Tevis props there. He and I talked about it, and I said, well, why don't you see if, put a sign up and see if somebody will take it. And he said, that's a good idea. So, well, I don't know if anybody's gotten, has bitten at the apple yet, but it's, a nice old house. If somebody were to move it, I'm sure there's ways to do it. And if it's being given to you for free, the cost of moving it should be less than the cost of a house. And then tomorrow night, I think most of us will be attending Sykesville and the Carroll County MML dinner. We'll see what that has in store for us tomorrow. Questions? All right, unfinished business, we put the Solar City contract as the first item, and it's under unfinished business because we've talked about it. We've had Solar City, another operator in here, ask for requests for proposals. But just to give a summary, especially since we're being live streamed tonight and recorded, we're talking about a solar array that would be located behind Upper Ford Lane and abutting the railroad track, so up toward the north end of town. The term of the contract would be for 20 years. The estimated production, I've learned a lot about kilowatt hours in production, and the estimated production for this facility would be 635,000 kilowatts on a monthly basis. The price would be, it's fixed per the contract for 4.5 cents for 20 years. 20 years is the typical contract for solar panel farms or arrays. Price from Constellation that we would get starting in January, which would be fixed for 2 years, is 7.9 cents when you round it. There's also an estimated distribution charge of 2.8 cents per kilowatt hour, which we wouldn't have to pay if we had the array there. So the savings is 6.25 cents per kilowatt hour, which when you turn it into raw dollars is about $37,000 to $39,000 a year. So that's a sizable savings for our electric bill for the town, and we hope that's the way it exactly works out. The only cost we'll really incur during the term of the contract is maintaining the property, which is primarily just mowing, keeping the weeds down. I don't see where that much grass would be growing up between the arrays anyway. Upfront cost, as Tammy mentioned, are the removal of trees, which will also approve a contract with Mason Moore Contractors tonight. And the other cost was attorney fees, which are really, at this point, insignificant comparatively. Payback period, if you have that, say, $12,000 of upfront cost and you save $37,000, $38,000, is less than a year. So, looks like a decent contract. There are conditions to the contract that were outlined in Section 6A, so we're not quite finished yet. There has to be confirmation from Solar City that all the environmental incentives and tax credits are still there in the amount that they think they're going to be. And the biggest one is where the interconnection and the delivery of the solar power comes to the grid with BG&E. But don't think that's going to be an issue. Tammy and I had an extensive conversation with Mike Fowler and John Murick of BG&E. They gave us quite an education as it relates to solar contracts and systems. They indicated we had a very competitive price when comparing it to other systems they had reviewed, and that the proposed performance of this system was well within the ranges that they had reviewed of other systems as well. So, just looks like everything lined up. But I thought it was important that we go through this process, given we're talking about a 20-year commitment. Overall, my thanks to Wayne for bringing this idea forward, and just another example that the Maryland Municipal League Conference does pay benefits. And to Tammy and Christy, and particularly Christy, for all the due diligence and contract negotiations they did, because there was a lot in getting us to this point. So, without further ado, I think the first thing we should do is the contract with Mason Moore. Tammy did reach out to several contractors, tree people, and this was by far they weren't official bids, but we asked for proposals, and this was by far the most inexpensive one we got from Mason Moore. He gave us 2 steps here. I think we ought to go ahead and remove all the trees. They're not attractive trees in any way, shape, or form, and there's a possibility here, depending upon our updates on our kilowatt usage on the grid, that we may be able to expand the solar array further. So it's my suggestion that we take both options and remove all the trees. It's less than an acre of ground that we're clearing, and the cost is $11,280.
I make a motion that we accept the Mason Moore contract for both options 1 and options 2.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. And now to do the Solar City properly, the contract, there are 3 contracts that I actually have to sign. There is the Solar Power Purchase Agreement, there's the Solar Power Purchase Limited Warranty Agreement, and there is the Performance Guarantee Agreement.
Make a motion that we approve all 3 agreements with Solar City.
Second.
Any further discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I too would like to thank the town staff, the town attorney, and the support of the council for this project. I think it'll be something that will really see the benefits on long after I'm on the council. Thank you.
20 years is a long time.
Yeah, well,
That's as long as we've been around. Let's see, and then other unfinished business.
None.
New business is the approval of audit services contracts with Lindsay and Associates. Cheryl came to me saying we're out of the contract. Lindsay has been our accountant now for, excuse me, a few years, and the contract prices they're giving us, as you see, are $12,300, which is the same price as we just had for fiscal year 14 as for fiscal year 15, and then 16 and 17 increased slightly. I see no problem with that contract and continuing with them as our accountants and auditors.
Making a motion for approval of the audit services contract extension with Lindsay.
second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Last but not least, there's a black car sitting out on that side of Town Hall that the auxiliary department doesn't need anymore. We had basically given it to them, but we still own it. So we need approval to sell it, and then we'll just donate the proceeds of that sale to the auxiliary police department.
Need a motion?
Yes.
So move?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, other new business. All right, ordinances and resolutions, there are none. Public comments? Got anything for us, Doug? House looks great.
Thank you.
So,
I mean, someone else have the floor. I would just like to say, I went to the SHA meeting, and you and Mr. Thomas and others represented the town very well. In fact, you knew more about a lot of things than the people themselves did. So I'm proud of all of you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
And to the officer, we appreciate all the work you did for us here in town. You, as Mr. Nevin said, you're very professional, and we wish you the best.
Thanks, Doug. I would say that I get a lot of primers before I go to those meetings, and I have a half-decent memory from what I'm told in one ear, so they can come out the mouth the right way. So that's a lot of good staff involvement on that project, so that's all good. All right, no other comments, no other business, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
unless you want to stay here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.